Is a gradual removal of the use of mask, no? So, yun lang, hindi pwedeng basta-basta.
Duque says the wearing of face masks together with hand washing, physical distancing, and vaccination are still the best ways to combat the spread of the virus. The health chief adds that even though the country has survived the Omicron surge, it remains to be seen if more variants of concern will surface. A public health expert believes it's too early for the government to consider removing the face mask mandate.
I think it's too premature because yung ating healthcare capacities hindi pa maayos eh. Like yung ating testings, hindi maayos yan. Number two, reason is that the vaccination program natin, hindi pa natin na-reach yung target goal, which is actually 70 to 90%. This is delusional thinking process na makakatakas tayo sa lahat, including removal of the face mask. Wag. As long as the virus is still out there, at hindi na di-declare ng WHO that the pandemic is over, ang face mask will be a way of life for everyone.
Filipinos also weigh in if they're ready to go mask-free outside.
Para sa akin, hindi pa kasi marami pang cases eh. Hindi natin nasisigurado kung ano talaga effective pa tanggalin yung face mask ngayon.
Kung sa akin lang po yung face mask, siguro po dito sa Pilipinas hindi pa po pwede kasi sa napapansin ko sa ibang bansa na nakikita ko sa news na yung ibang bansa na inalis nila yung face mask, parang lumaki yung cases ng COVID.
Meantime, the IATF is also discussing the proposal to ease restrictions for the campaign season. Under existing COMELEC guidelines, handshakes, taking selfies, giving hugs and kisses, and any form of close physical contact are tantamount to an election offense. The DOH reminds the candidates to self-regulate and follow the minimum public health standards. The elderly and the unvaccinated, meanwhile, are discouraged to attend campaign rallies and other crowded activities to avoid contracting the virus. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Nearly 2,200 more people caught COVID-19. Active cases are at over 66,500, excluding data from 3 laboratories. More than 4,400 patients recovered, 107 others died. Octa research fellow Guido David projects of the fresh cases today, around 400 are from Metro Manila. David earlier said this could go down to around 200 by the end of the month. As the downtrend in COVID-19 cases continue, Filipinos are getting a taste of the new normal with the return of a pre-pandemic trend. Outdoor food markets are booming again in a bid to promote safe dining. Paige Javier gives us a look.
Eating out had a different meaning during life before the pandemic. It would usually mean dining in fancy restaurants. But in the time of COVID-19, it literally means dining outside. Many prefer to eat outdoors since the risk of infection is lower in well-ventilated places.
Presko siya, tsaka open air kasi. Parang hindi mo feel na may pandemya.
Basta as long naman na nafa-follow naman yung protocol naman, safety protocol yan, naka-face mask naman. Okay, mas feel namin. Tsaka mas enjoy.
Siyempre po, para maka-abide tayo doon sa health protocol. Saka may iwasan natin yung pagkakahawaan.
Outdoor food markets are not new in the country, but we're seeing more of them again with relaxed restrictions.
Because al fresco is really more of the way to go right now. People want, to eat in a safe outdoor environment. We've actually grown the market.
Within the busy area of Sampaloc lies this food hub along Cristobal Street. The local government opened this place to help residents earn a living after the pandemic shuttered many businesses and left scores of people jobless.
Actually, during pandemic days, it started with just 2 stalls. And then some ideas popped out na bakit hindi natin i-open yung mga iba na gusto ring maglagay ng stalls. Before, it's just short-term project. Kaso nung naging maganda yung reception and yung results,
Masaya po. Kumbaga maraming tao natutulungan. Ngayong pandemic, di ba? Hindi lang ako.
The Cristobal Food Street is open daily from 5 in the afternoon to 12 midnight. Malls are also opening more food markets to encourage eating outside. Mall operators say people are gaining more confidence to dine al fresco. Popular food market Mercato Central says the push for outdoor dining is helping the industry recover. They assure that their food hubs are safe for both customers and sellers.
So one of the main changes which we really made during this time, was to make sure that we complied with all the IATF safety protocols and procedures, and that includes the distancing between the booths. They've got their mask, they've got their face shield, they've got their gloves. Of course, we've got our social distancing signs which are in place.
Mercato hopes to put up more outdoor markets to help more small businesses.
We don't see this going away in the near future. In fact, there's been a stronger demand for us to put up more alfresco markets in different parts of Metro Manila.
Kailangan na ang ating 5 million na target nung 2 araw sana nung last week, tapos in-extend natin. Medyo hindi pa ganun kabilis ang pagtanggap sa especially the booster. Nakikita nilang importante ito, pero kulang yung tinatawag na urgency. Hindi nila nakikita ang kailangan magpa-booster kaagad.
Supporters of Leni Robredo and her running mate Kiko Pangilinan are protesting what they call the illegal dismantling of campaign materials inside private property. The Robredo-Pangilinan tandem says they will not take this sitting down. Our senior correspondent Anjo Alimario reports.
Police and Bureau of Fire personnel were caught on video taking down tarpaulins of presidential candidate Leni Robredo and running mate Senator Kiko Pangilinan inside the volunteers' headquarters in Isabela. Veteran election lawyer Romulo Macalintal said what the COMELEC did was a clear case of abuse of power.
Kita mo, walang notice, walang hearing, basta lamang pinasok ang bahay. Under the revised penal code, trespass to dwelling. Kinuha yung property. Under the revised penal code, as a rules of court, you cannot seize property without a warrant.
Macalintal explains the campaign posters belong to the owners who posted them on private property. The person affected the ads should be properly notified and be given the chance to be heard. He argues the Fair Elections Act used by COMELEC as basis for its Oplan Baklas policy exempts non-candidates.
The COMELEC cannot prescribe what the law does not provide. The COMELEC may have found some gaps in the law, but it is not the power of the COMELEC to supply the gaps.
Robredo spokesperson Barry Gutierrez says the presidential candidate is deeply concerned about what happened.
Itong ganitong klaseng aksyon ng COMELEC, parang may pagpigil nun, di ba? At pag nakita ng mga ibang tao ito, merong tatawag nga natin sa batas chilling effect, di ba? Parang madi-discourage yung ibang tao na magpatuloy ng kanilang kampanya kung meron silang takot na baka pasukin yung kanilang bahay.
Pangilinan says it's illegal and is demanding fairness from the poll body and the police.
Kahit na anong baklas nila, di ba? Mauubos ang oras at panahon nila dahil iaangat at ng taong bayang tumataya at naninindigan ang mga poster na ito.
Macalintal says supporters may refuse entry.
Kahit na meron kang 1,000 granada, 1,000 machine gun sa loob ng bahay mo, hindi pwede pumasok ang pulis without any warrant of arrest, without warrant of seizure. Ayun pa nga yung very innocent-looking posters na it does not in any way endanger any interest of the government.
If needed, Gutierrez says they will go to court.
Pinag-aaralan sa kasalukuyan kung posibleng mag-file ng karapat-dapat na kaso para maging mas klaro yung rule dito sa isyong ito.
University of the Philippines Law Group say unduly restrictive regulations may prove unfair to the electorate, and when exercised overzealously, the actions become a form of censorship. They warn that government officials can be held liable for violating constitutional rights. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
Robredo also said her legal team is ready to assist her supporters in Isabela. Other presidential candidates weigh in on COMELEC's controversial Operation Baklas. The tandem of Senator Ping Lacson and Senate President Tito Soto called on COMELEC to revisit the policy, which Lacson said may have constitutional issues. Meanwhile, Soto warned political opponents can take advantage of the poll body's statement. It will hold candidates liable for campaign violations.
May constitutional issue yan, ano? Property ko ito, maski anong gawin ko rito, wag lang nakakasakit ng ibang tao, ba't ito pagbabawalan? Kung yung private property ko, nilagyan ko ng kanyon na nakaumang, nakakapanakot, yun. Pwedeng managot yung may-ari ng bahay o yung private property, pero harmless na sabihin natin tarpaulins o maski ano, I think they should revisit that.
Hanap ako ng bahay na bakante, lalagyan ko ng mga 50 feet by 50 feet na litrato ni Manny Pacquiao. Oh. Ano, disqualify si Manny? Yan ang sinasabi ko. Parang ano yan, parang no box, no ride yan eh. Hindi thought of, not well thought of.
For Isko Moreno, owners of private properties have the right to put up posters in support of their chosen candidate, but he notes that shouldn't be abused.
Let's just be vigilant kasi kawawa naman yung kandidato. For example, kawawa naman si Vice President Leni Robredo. Kung tatanggalin mo yung mga poster niya sa private property, di ba? Unfair yun kay BP Leni. Unfair yun sa mga kandidato. So sa akin, sunod tayo, ipatupad natin, pero wag natin abusuhin. Pagka kinabit ng mga private entity, private person,
right to freedom of expression whenever the posters are within private property or ownership. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez has said anyone is free to file a complaint about the policy, but that the poll body would continue to enforce campaign rules. Up ahead, who will presidential candidates pick to lead their anti-corruption drive if they win the elections? And water concessionaire Maynila vows to improve services as interruptions continue until the end of the month. You're watching CNN Philippines. Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Water concessionaire Maynila vows to improve its services by next month as thousands of consumers continue to experience service interruptions because of low water supply from Angat Dam and Laguna Lake. Amor Santos has the details.
Residents in Pasay City are dismayed by the lack of water every afternoon.
Although advisories are posted on Maynilad's Facebook page, customers say they needed advanced notice.
Kasi nung minsan nag-igib ako, nawala na agad ang tubig. Nagulat ako. Bakit biglang nawala? Dapat nagpaabiso naman lang sila ng maaga para maaga kami nakakaigib.
Nag-iipon na kami. Kasi mag-iisang linggo na na nag-aano ang tubig.
Sa gobyerno, tuunan ng pansin lalo na't eleksyon. Tuunan ng pansin ang patubig para sa mga taong bayan.
Aside from 6 barangays in Pasay City, several areas in Parañaque, Manila, and Cavite are experiencing daily water interruptions due to high demand at the Bagbag Reservoir, which gets supply from Angat Dam.
We are managing the quick drawdown kasi we have noticed na mabilis yung pagbaba ng antas ng tubig doon sa ating imbakan. So we're trying to prevent it from getting depleted.
But it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the prolonged service interruptions brought by the high turbidity of raw water from Laguna Lake. State regulator MWSS launched an investigation in January. It said Maynilad's massive supply cuts have greatly inconvenienced customers in Metro Manila and Cavite. Maynilad admits the number of affected accounts reached 245,000 in January, but it's now down to 180,000 as supply improved this month. Maynilad adds it will lift the rotational service interruptions down south by March 1st.
It's harder to treat highly turbid raw water. The effect is that the production of our plants is reduced versus the normal production. By Feb 15, we were able to finally increase our water production. It's now at 200 million liters per day. We see an improving trend in the turbidity level in Laguna Lake. By March 1, it should be back to normal.
Meanwhile, East Zone concessionaire Manila Water has scheduled maintenance activities in Metro Manila and Rizal on Thursday and Friday night. As summer approaches, both Maynilad and Manila Water brace for the projected shortage at Angat Dam, which supplies 96% of Metro Manila's water requirement. The concessionaires say treatment plants and deep wells will augment water supply.
Kung sakali mang bumaba to a certain level ang Angat Dam pagdating ng April and May, napaghandaan na rin natin ito dahil nakasama na ito dun sa aming projections. And as much as we can help it, we would try to equitably distribute pa rin yung limited supply.
Yung mga mitigation measures namin, tina-target namin na ma-complete na yan and ready for use by April.
Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
Fighting corruption is a priority for presidential candidates who's their pick to lead the anti-corruption drive if they win in the May polls. George Cahilas has that story.
So paano niya ako yapon pag nanalo ko?
That's how Partido Reforma standard-bearer Senator Panfilo Lacson responded to fellow presidential candidate Manila Mayor Isko Moreno's remark that he wants Lacson to be his anti-corruption czar. On Wednesday, Moreno says he needs someone like Lacson to instill discipline in the government.
Si Senator Ping Lacson is an asset of the country. That I guarantee. Kasi meron siyang particular skill set na kapakipakinabang para sugpuin yung isang suliranin ng ating pamayanan.
Lacson says he is thankful that Moreno recognizes his crusade against corruption. But when asked if the mayor has a place in his cabinet should he win in the May polls,
Focus muna kami sa paano manalo bago kami mag-isip ng mga yapoy.
another presidential candidate, Senator Manny Pacquiao, says he will consider Sibak Party List and Jesus is Lord Church founder, Brother Eddie Villanueva, as his anti-corruption czar if he will win. Pacquiao says Villanueva is ideal for the job since he is God-fearing. Pacquiao's camp earlier said that they are expecting Villanueva's endorsement soon.
May nakausap kami ni Brother Eddie Villanueva at gustong-gusto ko yun yung plano niya about sa pagsugpo ng korupsyon. At kung sakaling ako ay manalo ng pagkapangulo, naway tanggapin niya ang aking paanyaya na gawin ko siyang magiging head o isa sa campaign dito against the corruption.
Vice President Leni Robredo, meanwhile, says she has no name in mind yet, but she wants a qualified, a well-respected person to lead her anti-corruption campaign. CNN Philippines is still trying to reach the camp of former Senator Bongbong Marcos, but the son of the late dictator earlier said that he intends to strengthen the Presidential Commission on Good Government, or PCGG, the agency mandated to recover his family's ill-gotten wealth. As of March 2021, the PCGG has recovered more than 174 billion pesos from the Marcoses and their cronies. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The CNN Philippines vice presidential and presidential debates are officially a go. The network, the University of Santo Tomas, and Microsoft Philippines signed a partnership agreement to conduct the debates on February 26th and 27th. CNN Philippines President Benjamin Ramos thanked UST and Microsoft Philippines for their support to make this historic event possible. This marks the third partnership of UST and CNN Philippines. Meanwhile, Microsoft Philippines will use state-of-the-art technology for CNN Philippines' first debate with a virtual audience.
No doubt, this partnership will have forged and strengthens our common view of the value and relevance of these debates. CNN Philippines will be accurate, fair, and balanced as we ask questions that are uppermost in the minds of Filipinos.
By entering into an MOA with CNN, we commit to the vision of our founder to spreading the light of truth and promoting human dignity, freedom, justice for all Filipinos.
We are grateful and privileged to be part of such an incredible moment in our nation's history.
Again, catch the CNN Philippines vice presidential debate on February 26th, Saturday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, hosted by Rico Hizon and Ruth Cabal, and the presidential debate on the 27th of February, Sunday, hosted by Pinky Webb and yours truly. When we come back on Newsnight, it is Alaska versus rain or shine in tonight's PBA game. The Aces are appearing for the first match a day after announcing they are leaving the league at the conclusion of the ongoing Governor's Cup. Plus, Blues Clues is giving fans from different generations an exciting reunion. Details after the break. Welcome back to CNN Philippines. Alaska is playing against rain or shine in the Governor's Cup tonight. Their first game since announcing this will be their last season after 35 years in the PBA. How are the players handling the news, facing their final run in the league as Alaska Aces? We get details now from Pauline Versosa, joining us live from the Araneta Coliseum. Pauline?
Yes, Pia. Well, Alaska players are calling the remaining days in the PBA as their last dance. And players say they are determined to make it a memorable one by going for that 15th championship. Pia, ahead of today's match, we were able to catch up with key players Jeron Teng and Mike De Gregorio, and they shared that even they were shocked when they learned about the news yesterday when team owner Fred Uitengso announced that the franchise is officially leaving the league after 35 seasons. But, you know, this team also shared, Pia, that they are turning this into added motivation.
Of course, we were really shocked and saddened by the news because, especially for me, it's been my home for the last 4 years. So we're just glad for this opportunity that we have 6 more games. And as players, it's our job to really do our best and hopefully, you know, make the management proud. For all the fans na since 90s pa lang, 80s, so we want to do it for all those guys.
Obviously, we want to honor the past teams and what they did, but just focus on the present and try to take care of what's in front of us. The expectations for the team is the same. So I think, you know, whether fans, no fans, obviously it's exciting to have the fans back, but the expectation is to win the game and to play together and to play hard and to try and get the 15th ring for Alaska.
Well, Pia, the Alaska Aces are now going for their 4th win in the PBA Governor's Cup as they are now facing the Rain or Shine Alaska Painters. The teams are tied at 39 at halftime. And Alaska, you know, is currently tied at 4th in the standings with Barangay Ginebra with 3 wins and 2 losses. But like what the players said, they are really determined to get every win that they can in their last 6 remaining games in the elimination round in the hope of extending their season and hopefully getting a playoff spot before they finally bid the PBA goodbye. Pia.
Paui, tell us what is it like there at the Araneta Coliseum, the atmosphere, the vibe?
Well, for now, Pia, we are seeing a small crowd here in Araneta Coliseum. It was yesterday when the PBA finally opened its doors once again to fans after a 2-month break because of the surge of COVID-19 cases. The venue capacity now is still at 50% with only the lower and upper box seats available. So that's just about around 3,000 to 4,000 spectators. But PBA officials are anticipating that gate attendance will increase in the next few days as the Governor's Cup draws closer to the playoffs. But good news for fans because ticket prices are still at 50% off, so they can avail this until further notice. Pia.
Pauline Versosa there reporting from the Araneta Coliseum. Now, in the movies, people who grew up with Blue's Clues are bound to love this new film, bringing back the show's hosts throughout the years. Steve and Joe are joining Josh and Blue in New York for Blue's Big City Adventure. The movie's release date has yet to be announced, but it will stream on Paramount+. Filipino Joshua De La Cruz is the first Asian American to host the popular Nickelodeon series. And that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This program is brought to you by